Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Raise Your Banner podcast. Today, I'm covering a topic that touches so many of us in one way or another: depression. I want to explore what depression really is, what it feels like, why it can be so hard to recognize, and most importantly, how it can be managed. My hope is that this episode might offer some clarity, comfort, or even just a sense of not being alone. Stay tuned and enjoy the episode.
3, 2, 1, 0.
So let's start with the basics. What exactly is depression? Depression is not just feeling down or going through a rough patch. It's a real mental health condition, and it's more than just sadness. When someone is dealing with depression, they're facing deep, ongoing feelings that can interfere with every part of their life, how they think, feel, and even how they go about daily activities. One thing that makes depression tricky to talk about is that it doesn't look like the same for everyone. For some people, depression feels like an overwhelming sadness. For others, it might feel more like emptiness, numbness, or a total lack of energy. And sometimes you can't even put words to it. You just feel off. Another important thing to remember is that depression doesn't always show up in obvious ways. Some people might look fine on the outside, they might be going to work, meeting friends, laughing at jokes, but inside they're struggling. And that can be one of the hardest parts of depression, the way it can make you feel so isolated, even when you're not physically alone. Now, I'd like to go over some common signs of depression. If you recognize any of these in yourself or someone close to you, it might be worth checking in with a mental health professional. So first up, one common sign is a loss of interest in things that used to bring joy. This is often called eudaimonia, and it can feel like a numbness toward things you used to love, whether that's hobbies, music, or even spending time with friends. Another big one is fatigue. Many people with depression feel constantly drained, no matter how much sleep they get. Even small tasks can feel overwhelming, like getting up, showering, or cooking a meal. It's often more than just being tired, it's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't seem to go away. So what can you do if you're experiencing depression or think someone you know might be? One of the most effective steps you can take is reaching out for support. It could be talking to a friend, a family member you trust, or reaching out to a therapist. Therapy itself can be incredibly helpful. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, for example, is one common type that helps people identify and change negative thought patterns that can contribute to depression. There are also different medications that can help manage depression, especially if it's related to chemical imbalances in your brain. And some people find that a combination of both therapy and medication works best for them. It's also worth mentioning that self-care can play a role in managing depression. Things like exercise, even just going for a walk, can make a difference. Spending time outside, finding small ways to connect with people, or even make a journal can be helpful. I know, though, that these things can feel impossible when you're in a low place, and that's okay. It's not about forcing yourself to be happy. It's about finding small steps, one at a time, that help you take care of yourself. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about my own depression. Mine is like a roller coaster. It comes and goes almost as it pleases, it seems. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I might be good. And then week number 4, the depression sets in and it is a struggle for me that week. Now, my depression has never made it to the point where I can't get out of bed, can't do things. I would easily say I'm more of my depression's more functional. I don't want to do things. I don't necessarily want to get out of bed, but I've always had the ability to get out of bed and to do things I need to do. But I find that it's pretty miserable when I'm trying to do these things or get out of bed or interact with people when I have those depressive weeks. I do take medication that does seem to help a bit. It does not keep the depression at a negative or at a zero. It's definitely still there, but it does, I believe, keep it at bay. One thing for me, we kind of talked about it earlier, was the small things, right? When I have the depressive weeks, I try to keep things small, take small steps, get out of bed, make a cup of coffee, try not to really think about doing anything large, just take each thing step by step. One thing for me, I enjoy going out, being social, and sitting at a coffee shop. And I find that when I have those depressive weeks, although I don't necessarily want to go because I'm depressed, I do find that something, for me, that's one of the things that really does help. So what I would tell you out there, if you're, struggling with depression, obviously there's a million different things you could do. Please reach out for help, talk to a friend, things like that. Find those things that you do that maybe make those little small breakthroughs that allow you to see the light on the other side of that depression. But like always, and like we always talk about, just reach out, talk to a friend, talk to a relative, talk to a mental health professional. There's definitely help out there, right? Yeah, you don't have to go along with the journey by yourself. For anyone out there that might be struggling, please remember that reaching out isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. Depression can make you feel isolated, but you don't want to have to go through it alone. There are people out there who understand, who care, and who want to help. And for anyone listening who isn't experiencing depression directly, but wants to support someone who is, my advice would be to listen with empathy and without judgment. Sometimes just being there, offering up a listening ear or a supportive message can make a huge difference. To close out this episode, I just want to emphasize that depression is a complex, real, and treatable condition. It might feel overwhelming, and recovery can be a long journey, but there are people and resources that can help. Thanks for joining me today. I hope that this episode has offered some insights, whether you're dealing with depression yourself, supporting someone, or just wanting to learn more. Remember that no matter how dark things might feel, there's always a path forward. Keep on moving forward and stick around. Raise your banner if you need help, and raise your banner to let others know you're a safe person to turn to. Until next time, stick around and keep on moving forward. Research conducted by Matrixa Research Group. Artwork created by Jenna Bordinger at jbordingerart.com or at jbordinger_art on Instagram. And music by Josiah Renton, DJ Slowbro. Thank you.